Wait a second, mister. Lake Borland's buying, so drink up.
Thanks, but I got some coffee coming.
Drink!
Wyatt Earp!
A young man named Wyatt Earp lives with his parents and siblings in Iowa. While his older brother Virgil and James serve in the Army, Wyatt's tasked with working on his family's corn farm with his younger brothers. One day, hoping to join his brothers in the war despite being too young, Wyatt takes his hidden weapons from the farm, bids farewell to his younger brothers Morgan and Warren, and proceeds to run away. However, soon his father, Nicholas Earp, arrives at the farm, discovers Wyatt's plans, and chases him around the farm until he finally catches him and takes him back.
Virgil and James should be coming on home any day soon now.
A few days later at dawn, Wyatt is excited to see Virgil returning from the war and welcomes him wholeheartedly.
Virgil!
Then, Wyatt learns that James is injured and welcomes him somberly.
James, welcome home. Give us a hand here.
Soon, Nicholas excitedly welcomes his sons home and lovingly embraces them.
Oh, thank you, Lord.
A few days later, Nicholas gathers his large family and, in hopes of finding a fresh start, announces that they are moving and putting down roots in the unnamed territory of California.
We'll go to California and see what we can make of that place.
But why, Pa?
After a few days of traveling, the Earps reach California and start settling in. Despite adapting to his environment rather quickly, one day, Wyatt witnesses a man getting shot and killed and becomes sick out of panic. Then, after calming his son down, Nicholas gives him a life lesson about how to handle the viciousness of criminals and warns him to always do right by the law. 7 years later in Wyoming territory, Wyatt works as a wagon driver with his friend Dutch, and the duo does whatever it takes to protect their cargo from robbers. One day, the duo is chased through the desert by a group of robbers and work together to outwit and escape their attack successfully. After the ordeal, the duo discusses their previous experiences in handling similar situations.
Sure, I shot a few. How do you think I got this job?
And Wyatt shares that he's never shot or killed anyone and that he will do whatever it takes to maintain that.
Hope I never do either.
In his spare time, Wyatt earns money by working as a referee for local boxing matches. One afternoon, Wyatt referees a brutal boxing match, remains admirably fair, and announces the winner. However, a notorious man named Ed Ross, who lost his bet on the fight, seeks Wyatt out and knocks him out in frustration. That night, while Wyatt enjoys himself at the local bar, his friend named Red informs him that a drunk Dutch has been announcing a fight with Ed on behalf of Wyatt.
Your boy Dutch is drunk and he's telling everybody how you're going to take Ed Ross.
Moments later, Ed walks into the bar and challenges Wyatt to a battle.
Wyatt Earp!
Despite the challenge, Wyatt tries to assuage Ed to no avail.
This boy ain't worth your trouble.
Shut up, Sally.
Hence, Wyatt reacts quickly and knocks the wind out of Ed with a billiard ball. To be fair, he did give him a chance to salvage his pride.
I don't want to make a fight.
Stop talking.
Then, as the crowd watches in awe, Wyatt unbuckles Ed's gun belt and takes it as a trophy. Sometime later, Wyatt returns to Lamar, Missouri to study law with his grandfather and rushes to meet with his childhood crush, Urilla Sutherland,
I brought you this.
Thank you.
who accepts his request for a date.
So you've come to Lamar to study with your grandfather?
Yes, and to marry you.
After a few weeks of courtship, Wyatt proposes to Urilla and gets a job as the town constable to support their new life, while he continues his studies.
I thought I ought to be able to make a living while I continue my studies.
Then, the couple buys a house and furnishes it before getting married, surrounded by all of their loved ones. For the next few months, the couple lives in a wholesome state of wedding bliss, and Urilla becomes pregnant.
I could be happy anywhere with you, Urilla. I don't care what job I have or where I live.
However, before the couple revels in this news, Urilla becomes gravely sick and is soon diagnosed with typhoid fever. Shocked by his discovery, the doctor decides to quarantine the young couple's house and restricts access to friends and family.
I'm going to have to quarantine the house.
I can't.
Despite knowing the horrible prognosis of the illness, Wyatt stays by his wife's side and nurses her lovingly
Gorilla,
Can you let me be?
until she passes away in his arms. Then, a funeral service is held for Urilla and is attended by all the family and friends. Wyatt is devastated beyond comprehension and loses his mind in grief.
United to the spirit, which is gone to God.
Later that night, Wyatt gets incredibly drunk and burns down his house before leaving everything behind and skipping town.
Go.
It seems like Wyatt is trying to burn his grief along with his possessions, but unfortunately, it just doesn't work like that. Wyatt spends the next 9 months absorbed in depression, aimlessly wandering from one town to the next, and ends up in Arkansas.
This ain't no hotel, you stinking spunk.
There, one night, as he continues his life of destitution, he's thrown out of a barn by the angry owner. Sobered up by the ordeal, Wyatt begs a passerby for money to buy some food,
it'd be a good start if you could lend me the price of a meal.
but ends up beating him up, robbing him, and stealing his horse when the man hesitates to help. The next morning, Wyatt sells the horse to a local stable. However, the horse is soon recognized as stolen, and angry locals attack Wyatt when he least expects it. What a depressing fall from grace for the once lawman. Wyatt is then imprisoned and awaits certain hanging as punishment for stealing a horse. Luckily, Nicholas soon arrives and uses his connections and a hefty payment to bail his son out.
I gave him $500 bail.
He then gives him a gun and a horse and, after warning him to never return to Arkansas, helps him escape his dire fate. Grateful for the help, Wyatt thanks his father and flees. Nicholas has always preached that family bonds come before anything, including the law.
There's not going to be any trial.
Elsewhere, after a few weeks, Wyatt gets into buffalo hunting and makes a new sober life for himself. One day as he commutes to his work, Wyatt meets brothers Ed and Bat Masterson and hires them.
We saw you come in with your wagon, but we didn't see any Skinners with you.
It's because there wasn't any.
In the next few weeks, the trio works hard and excels at their new venture. A couple of years later, Wyatt goes to Wichita, Kansas to visit James, gets a job dealing faro, and settles in.
That's good, Wyatt.
One day, a drunk man named Rowdy Dubs terrorizes the town, shooting at everything in sight and causing tragic casualties.
What the hell's going on here?
While the local enforcement shrieks in terror, Wyatt intervenes and swiftly apprehends the criminal.
My leg!
This impresses the local authorities, who offer Wyatt a job as deputy marshal and convince him to take it with a hefty salary.
I'm making 100, but don't try and hold me up.
$100? Got this?
Once he starts his job, Wyatt and Marshal Mager get along well and go around town apprehending criminals.
Thank you.
Sometime later, to Wyatt's delight, Morgan moves to the city with his wife Lou and settles in.
This is my big brother.
How do you do, ma'am?
Soon, following Wyatt's outstanding reputation, an officer named Larry Dager approaches him and recruits him to work for the Dodge City Police, and despite the lower salary, promises to pay him extra money for every arrest he makes.
That's $2.50 for every arrest.
Hence, Wyatt recruits the Masterson brothers, Morgan and Virgil, to join him in his new office.
I gotta tell you, Wyatt, not all a man hears is good. We heard about you all the way over in Abilene.
As the city needs as much help as it can get. A few days into their new positions in Dodge City, Wyatt and his fellow law enforcers are faced with dealing with the notorious Clements gang, whom they handle expertly.
Head down.
Got some new laws since you boys were here.
For the next few months, Wyatt executes his job skillfully and arrests numerous offenders,
These son of a...
which soon gives him a reputation as being too brutal and hasty to make an arrest.
It doesn't suffer fools.
I'm not a fool, Wyatt.
One evening, the Masterson brothers find some civilians carrying weapons within the city limits, and Ed calmly reminds them of the law that prohibits this very action.
Says who?
Says the law. That's who.
However, as the civilians become resistant to the warning, Wyatt comes out of nowhere, beats, and knocks them out.
Talk too much, Ed.
I didn't have to do that, Wyatt.
Later, as the trio takes the civilians to prison, Wyatt warns Ed that he will get hurt if he doesn't become more decisive and take action.
Just saying, I believe I could have talked those guns off him, Wyatt.
Soon, Wyatt starts a relationship with a prostitute named Maddie Blaylock,
Don't do that, Wyatt.
who falls in love with him and dreams of having a family with him despite his hesitation.
Only don't leave money on my dresser, please. Unless it's 'cause you want to take care of me.
One morning, Wyatt is called into the mayor's office as a result of numerous complaints about his use of excessive force and is fired from the job.
Some people are concerned about the way you've been handling things, Wyatt.
Then, the more affable Ed is appointed in his place.
There's been some complaints.
From some in jail, maybe, not from citizens.
Soon, Wyatt is recruited by the railroad to catch some robbers and head to Fort Griffin, Texas, in search of a dangerous criminal named Dave Rudabaugh.
Looking for a fella named Dave Rudabaugh, no? Right?
There, Wyatt is introduced to a man named Doc Holliday, who has detailed information on Dave, and a beautiful friendship is born.
I myself was a dentist. I was proud to be a dentist. I did not hide the fact that I was a dentist.
Meanwhile, in Wichita, Ed calmly confronts a man carrying a weapon inside a bar,
Give it to me!
and just as Wyatt had predicted, gets fatally shot.
That was laying over there.
Soon, Wyatt is informed of the tragic news and is asked to return to Kansas and resume his role as deputy marshal. Wyatt immediately returns to the lawless town and announces his arrival.
My name is Wyatt Earp. It all ends now.
A few days later, Doc arrives with his girlfriend Kate and is introduced to the Earp brothers.
You can call me Big Nose Kate. Everybody else does.
One night, Wyatt hangs out with Virgil and shares his idea to move the whole Earp brothers and their family to Tombstone, Arizona, where silver mines are booming.
You wanted to get rich. You went into the wrong line of work.
However, this conversation is soon cut short as a group of outlaws rushes through the town, shooting at random targets. It seems like Wyatt is getting tired of all the violence in his life, wants to put down roots of his own and settle down.
Where are you going?
Ellie says they want to talk to you alone.
Later, Wyatt is notified of a violent fight at Doc's place, rushes there, and finds Doc and Kate in an aggressive standoff.
Come on, little dove. Let's finally get it over with.
Using his swift skills, Wyatt disarms both of them and neutralizes the situation.
They can hang the bitch. We'll both be happy.
After burying Ed, Maddie and the Earp family move to Tombstone in search of a better fortune. In the next year, they will work hard and invest in local businesses.
Got a half interest in the Oriental Faro Bank and a quarter interest in one at the Crystal Palace.
One day, Maddie, who has been waiting for Wyatt to change his mind and commit to her, asks Wyatt to start a family with her. But to her disappointment, he refuses.
A family of our own, our children, yours and mine.
Then, the corrupt county sheriff John Bien tries to get Wyatt and his brothers to work with the notorious cowboy gang, but Wyatt refuses.
You did not come to Tombstone to be a lawman again, Wyatt.
How's that?
Money, Wyatt, lots of money to be shared with everyone who helped.
One morning, Sheriff John's fiancée Josephine Josie Marcus arrives in town. As Josie greets her excited fiancé, she sees Wyatt, and the duo fall in love at first sight.
A young woman walking alone in the evening. People could get the wrong impression.
I appreciate your concern.
A few nights later, the cowboy gang, led by Curly Bill Brocious, causes a ruckus as a distraction and lures the local authorities to their hideout. As soon as the authorities show up, Curly Bill shoots and kills Marshal Fred White. In the aftermath, Virgil is appointed as the acting marshal. Then, Curly Bill is released on bail.
You had your last chance and you let it go. Ain't gonna be no more talking.
And as the cowboys escort him, they declare war on the Earps.
Your day's coming. Get ready.
Soon, Wyatt and Josie, who broke up with John, start a passionate affair and get to know each other.
I knew a lot about you the minute you got off that stagecoach.
As rumors of this surface, Maddie overdoses on medication and tries to kill herself. Luckily, she's rescued in time.
Probably over in Chinatown. It's not hard to find a Tombstone.
Hearing of this, Wyatt becomes guilt-ridden and shares his pain with Doc, who keeps him from getting drunk and comforts him.
It's nothing much. Just luck.
Gotta admit, everyone needs a Doc in their life. In the next few days, a member of the Cowboys named Ike goes around town boasting of his plan to kill the Earps.
Ike, if you're gonna talk like that, you best take it somewhere else.
One night, as he drunkenly rambles on about his plans, Doc confronts him and challenges him to a fight.
Get out your gun and commence.
I ain't healed, Doc.
The next day, Josie visits Wyatt at his place and informs him that Ike is threatening to kill the Earps and begs him to flee with her to no avail.
Give me a gun, I'll kill anyone who tries to hurt you.
Desperate, Josie tells Wyatt how much she cares about him and advises him to be careful.
I love you, Wyatt.
Meanwhile, Maddie sees this interaction, becomes furious, and threatens to kill herself. However, Wyatt warns her to get a grip on her emotions and leaves.
I don't have time for this today.
Then, Wyatt, Virgil, and Morgan meet on the street to discuss their predicament. And after confirming with their sources that Ike and his men are hiding out at OK Corral, they head there to challenge the gang's threat once and for all and put a stop to it.
Let's go.
A few minutes into their journey, the brothers are met by Doc, who enthusiastically joins their cause.
Put that under your coat.
Soon, they reach the gang, and Virgil orders them to give up their guns.
Throw up your hands. I want your guns.
However, the gang refuses to follow the order, and an intense standoff ensues. Moments later, a violent gunfight breaks out, and despite Morgan and Virgil being injured, the quartet manages to kill many of the bandits. Once things calm down, the sheriff comes out of hiding and tries to arrest Wyatt and Doc for murder, but they disregard him completely.
I'm not going to be arrested today, Johnny. By you?
Then, the locals argue amongst themselves, with some considering the ordeal murder.
It was a fair fight!
While the rest remember the gang's threats and start fighting until the sheriff breaks it up.
Family bit.
While the injured brothers and the overdosing Maddie recuperate in Virgil's house, Lou lashes out at Wyatt and blames him for everything that happened. A few days later, the gang arranges a funeral procession around town for their fallen comrades, in which they display a slogan that their men were murdered in cold blood. This makes the intended impact, and Wyatt is soon served with a warrant on behalf of his injured brothers and Doc.
We have warrants for you and Doc, Morgan and Virgil, for the crime of murder.
Wyatt simply refuses the warrant and instead uses it to negotiate his family's safety.
I won't let them use the law to kill me and my family, John. I won't allow that.
A few days later, the Earp brothers and Doc appear before a judge. However, after reviewing the case in detail and accounting for the extraordinary circumstances.
Quiet, everyone.
Quiet, please.
To the utter frustration of the outlaws, the judge exonerates the men. As the Earps celebrate their feat in the privacy of a local gambling parlor, Morgan is fatally shot by the outlaws, who unfortunately have decided to uphold their own version of justice. All hell breaks loose as the Earps and their friends scramble to help the dying Morgan while also defending themselves.
Marshal Earp! You gotta come quick! It's your brother, Morgan!
Virgil soon hears the news and rushes to the parlor to see his brother, but he's also attacked by the highly organized bandits. A few minutes later, Morgan dies in Wyatt's arms. Soon, Lou arrives on the scene and starts screaming at the top of her lungs with grief.
How is he?
Soon, Virgil is rescued and treated. But despite the doctor's best efforts, he loses his arm.
He wants to take my arm. I'll let him cut it off.
Wyatt is distraught to see his family suffering and takes a moment to process everything. Doc soon joins him and comforts Wyatt, who vows vengeance for his brothers.
Kill them all.
A few days later, Warren arrives in Tombstone to escort Morgan's body back to his parents in California and is warmly welcomed by Wyatt.
I'm glad you're here, Warren.
Look.
Then the Earps decide to leave everything behind for good. And after making all the necessary arrangements, the Earps, Doc, and Maddie board a plane to Tucson. Despite knowing the bandits are waiting for them there. On the train, Wyatt, Doc, and a few of their comrades hide and attack the outlaws in Tucson. It's amazing how Wyatt lives the way he does and manages to never even be grazed by a single bullet. Then, Doc, Wyatt, Warren, and their friend Sherm return to Tombstone, but are once again served with a warrant for their recent murder.
They got a warrant out for us on Stillwell already.
Wait.
Then, Wyatt rushes to see Josie, and hoping to ensure her safety, asks her to head to her parents' residence in San Francisco, and promises to find her once he's finished avenging his brothers.
I'll be expecting you every day.
Wyatt, Doc, Warren, Sherm, and a couple of their friends then start a treacherous journey of searching for the outlaws and manage to kill a few gang members. After a few days of traveling, Doc takes a moment to vow his loyalty to Wyatt.
You've been a good friend to me, Doc.
Shut up.
A few days later, the group follows the outlaws into their lair and wipes them out. 17 years later, on the coast of Alaska, while Wyatt and his wife Josie travel on a ship, Wyatt is approached by a young man who has grown up hearing great stories of how Wyatt had saved his uncle Tommy from a lynching mob.
So if any of you want Tommy, and you want me.
While Josie proudly revels in her husband's glory. Doc Holliday died 6 years later in a Colorado sanitarium, aged 36. Virgil, James, and their wives remained in California working various jobs. And Virgil's wife Allie died 21 days shy of her 100th birthday. Members of the cowboy gang continued to disappear mysteriously for years to come. I think we can safely deduce the reason behind that. Wyatt. Wyatt and Josie remained devoted to each other for the next 47 years, until Wyatt died in 1929, aged 80, with Josie by his side. Josie died 15 years later, and their ashes are buried together in Colma, California.